Welcome to the Matt and John Show, where real patriots dive into real issues.
All right. Welcome to the Matt and John Show, where we stand proud for freedom, family, the values that make America great. Join us today as we dive into today's most pressing issues, explore conservative perspectives, and celebrate the spirit of patriotism that unites us all. John, let's get started.
Woo, I'm excited.
Let's see, you got a tease. So what are we talking about? What are some of our subjects we're going to discuss today?
All right, you guys. So we have a lot of great topics to talk about today, and we're excited to dive into it. So just to give a quick overview, we're going to be talking about RFK testifying before the Senate and his claim that COVID was a politicization. That's a hard word to say.
It is.
We're also going to be talking about the U.S. strikes a drug cartel boat, and we're going to get some comments.
Sounds awesome, John.
It does.
That sounds awesome.
It is. And we're going to hear from Pete Hegseth. And then we're going to be talking about the free speech crackdown in the UK. People getting arrested for posting online their beliefs.
That's bananas. That's our cousins, too. And they created the Magna Carta, which eventually led to the Constitution.
Absolutely. We owe a lot to the UK for the freedoms.
And now it's like, oh, here. But yes, continue.
And then the Epstein list of names. Where are they? Where is the names we promised? And what does it have to do with the grand jury not unsealing the evidence? And then if we have time, we'll talk about some of the latest issues revolving the most recent shooting in Minnesota. So we got a lot to cover today. Buckle up and let's jump into it.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Here we go.
All right, so let's start off with the RFK Jr. testifying before the Senate. I'm going to give a little bit of content so you guys can get some understanding of what's going on. But according to our sources, RFK Jr., who is the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, faced intense grilling in the Senate. And when he had both Democrats and Republicans challenging his management of health agencies, of firing CDC leadership, and controversial vaccine policies. He's accused opponents of fabricating or distorting his track record and disputed official COVID death statistics, claiming the CDC data was chaotic and politicized.
It was.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I agree.
So that's kind of that's what we're talking about right now. And just I'm going to go a little bit deeper into the context of it. So conservatives argue that the COVID policies became overly politicized under past Democratic leadership, fueling mistrust in public health officials and vaccine mandates. Many Trump supporters see RFK Jr. as exposing deep state manipulation and bias in pandemic response. Liberals and many healthcare professionals, however, view RFK Jr.'s claims as dangerous misinformation, undermining trust in science-based health policy.
Communists.
Exactly. So we're getting fire on both sides. You have some people say, no, he's taking away our vaccines. And then there's other people say, no, he's calling out the corruption of the deep state.
Sure.
So what I think would be good is to hear from the man himself. So I'm going to cue up a clip of RFK actually testifying
up
before the Senate. Here we go.
Do you believe COVID-19 was politicized?
Yeah, the whole process was politicized. Senator, I mean, we were lied to about everything. We were lied to about natural immunity. We were lied to about, we were told again and again the vaccines would prevent transmission, they prevent infection. It wasn't true. They knew from the start it wasn't true because that's what the animal studies and the clinical trials showed. We were told that there was science behind cloth masks. The CDC allowed the teachers union to write the order closing our schools, which hurt working people all over the country, and then pretend it was science-based. All of these issues, and then I can show you, like, for example, Chairman Biden was talking about me politicizing ACIP during COVID. Probably the most famous scientist on ACIP was Martin Kulldorff from Harvard, the great, now world-renowned epidemiologist and vaccinologist. And he criticized the COVID booster mandates. They ejected him from COVID. because he wasn't in the orthodoxy. The two biggest health officials at FDA during COVID, Dr. Gruber and Dr. House, criticized the Biden mandates. Vaccine, President Biden said in August, I would never take that vaccine, the Trump vaccine. And he came in, he mandated it, and then he fired the two top health officials at FDA who said, hey, this thing has not been properly tested. So the whole process was politicized, even today.
All right, Matt. Pretty strong words coming from RFK Jr.
No, I love it. And what he was talking about, he was spot on. So it came out in February. It was 2020. Yeah, February. It came out that it had gotten to the United States, right? So the outbreak. By May of that year, we knew that it only affected two types of people: the old and the people with comorbidities, like if you're fat or diabetes or you have some type of health condition. And for the next 2 years, I mean, everything locked down, and then they brought out ivermectin, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was horse-based.
Yeah, the dewormer.
Yeah, right.
Dewormer,
Yeah, everyone's taking horse medicine. But the crazy thing is they knew, the government and just the people, I don't know what you want to call it, they knew that it was that, and what was the other one too? It was ivermectin, and there's one other one.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but there was a lot of treatments that were
that were proven to be true.
Some of the controversies surrounding this topic were allegations that the CDC and experts exaggerated COVID severity risk for political gain. That's RFK Jr.'s firing of vaccine advisory leaders seen as critics, as anti-science, prompting bipartisan outrage. And then claims about, we'll skip that one, dispute over actual COVID death numbers and assessing messaging on vaccines. Did you know I actually did a search? I actually did an AI scan, and I was just curious, like, what has been the all-time worst pandemics in terms of total number of worldwide deaths?
Interesting, yeah.
Versus world wars. And not only was the COVID-19 top 10 worst killers ever, but I think it was only beaten out by the bubonic plague and I think the Spanish flu were the only, according to the number.
In the 13 or 18 or, it was after World War I think.
Yeah, and it's been more devastating than most of the
COVID has.
Yeah, COVID has been more devastating than most of the wars that we faced. And again, the numbers have been fudged a lot, but essentially we can't understate the devastation that each human soul on planet Earth felt to some degree, whether they actually died from said virus, whether they had a loved one that died from them,
sure,
whether it restricted them from making money, their livelihood, their job, being able to move around. Like RFK was saying, send your kids to school. I mean, everyone has a personal story with COVID. And just real quick for our audience, I'm going to share a personal story because I think that those stories are the ones that really resonate with people. So let's go back to January 2020.
Yep.
So my wife and I were pregnant, just got pregnant,
yeah.
Okay? And we were due August of 2020 that year. Well, we all know what happened in March. That's when we started getting reports of this strain, this COVID virus that we had no idea what it was.
Sure.
And at first we were just kind of like, whatever. It's probably going to be like any other flu outbreak. Make sure you wash your hands and, get some rest.
Stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. They have some standard stuff. And and then the world just went crazy, like almost overnight. It seemed like people were like afraid to leave their house. We were told to mask up. It was crazy time. And the worst part about it is if you did not go along with what RFK, you coined the word orthodoxy.
Right.
If you didn't follow the orthodoxy, the religion of science.
Sure.
If you didn't follow it, then you were you were a heretic,
Right.
and you were cast out, and
Literally.
like, yeah, like people would stop being your friends, people would shame and shun you in public. Like, it was every bit as demoralizing as if a preacher went out and the crowd harassed them. You know what I mean? So that's why I call it the religion of science, because that's what it felt like.
John, science is true, right? So if the experts talk about the science, it's true until it's not.
Exactly. And so and it was very, very limited information, because you got to remember, during the time, if you spoke out against vaccines, you were banned, you were deplatformed, demonetized, you were removed from social media. Like, couldn't even
Camera, no more.
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't talk about it. But from the limited information we did receive, we heard rumors from certain studies that there was actually a component of the vaccine that would break down the enzyme that attached the egg to the uterine wall, which would eventually lead to an abortion. You know, it would actually kill the fetus inside the uterus. And here we are, 2 months pregnant with our child, and we were scared. We just didn't know.
Yeah.
We had very real fears of getting the vaccine and
The clot shot.
yeah, exactly. And so it was more than just being a good citizen. Like, we didn't want our child to die. Like,
Of course, yeah. No, for sure.
and so we had to look at ourselves and go against what everybody was saying. The social pressure was just immense. Like, unless you like experienced it and lived it, like, you just have no idea what it was like to everywhere you go. Oh, do you have your vaccine?
Get the shot? Did you get your shot?
Yeah,
Did you get the kids the shot? Did you get the booster?
yeah, exactly. And so we ended up not getting the vaccine.
Yeah.
Under that pressure.
It's not a vaccine. So they keep calling it the vaccine, but it's not. A vaccine is to give you immunity from getting something. They lied to us. They said, remember Biden, Grandpa Joe out there? He would say, yes, if you get your shot, then you can't pass it to other people, right? You're immune,
Yeah.
and you can't pass it. So you got to do your civic duty.
Yeah.
And then he changed it, and it's like, well, you can still pass it, but you're protected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And then during that time, you also had the presidential election happening. I mean, I was even getting...
That's big.
Yeah, and that it started to come into churches. I remember sitting there in church one day, and somebody over the pulpit said, if you don't follow the mandate to get a vaccine, you're not a good Christian. And that was a tough one. Like, I had to wrestle with that one.
Really? I'm gonna flip you something.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see, like, once you start to get into religious circles, and oh, by the way, we couldn't go to church because of the social distancing. So that was...
But my liquor store was able to stay open because you can buy milk and eggs. They sell milk and eggs. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So I asked my convenience store on the corner, why are you guys open and everything else is shut down? This is California, too, mind you. He said, because we sell milk and eggs. So one little tiny corner in the cooler, they can stay open. And the rest, the government can just come in and shut everything else down, dude.
Yeah. And
Crazy, man.
what I'll say about that real quick is we saw a massive shift of wealth from small to mid-sized businesses, mom and pop, local stores. Now the big box stores, Walmart, Amazon, they were getting all the same.
Of course.
Their numbers were up, and all of us other business owners were going down, down, down.
Sure.
And but we can get to that in a sec. But just to finish my thought is, so we ended up not getting the vaccine. Our son was born healthy. Everything was fine, and I was very thankful for that. And then all of a sudden, as time went forward, we started hearing about vaccine injuries and myocarditis.
Yeah,
and people getting inflamed hearts and arteries and dying from heart attacks, like big profile people, athletes.
Young people.
Yeah.
I mean, just like you're saying, athletes that run 20 miles a day, you know, and they all of a sudden, there was a football player that he collapsed from on the field. It was he was Buffalo Bill. Damar Hamlin, and he just tackled somebody and then just fell right over. And it was crazy. We were all watching it live, and somebody asked him if he had gotten the clock shot later in an interview, and he started just quiet and dancing around it.
Yeah.
So, but that was pretty crazy, man.
Yeah. So now I feel incredibly vindicated that I didn't get the
Clock shot?
The clot shot, not the vaccine, the clot shot. I feel vindicated. I feel that all the science is coming out. It's proving that this was a rushed, unscientific, essentially concoction. It's a chemical soup.
Well, don't you remember, speaking of that, just really on that, do you remember when Trump was in the administration? Everyone was like, oh, we're not taking it. Well, it's Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as Biden gets stolen into the White House, then all of a sudden everyone's like, yeah, you need to get it. Fauci's like, yeah, you need to get it. Everybody, they switched. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, because, and that's a very good point you bring up, because it's not about public health. It's about using whatever means necessary for politicization. That's what RFK was talking about in that clip, that if it served their purpose to undermine Trump and win the election, they will do it.
Yeah.
And they will kill as many Americans and people really worldwide as they need to serve
They opened the border. How many people have been raped and murdered because so they can flood the country with new aliens, which, I mean, we're getting off subject, but they each get electoral votes based on the people. They don't have to be citizens. I don't know.
Yeah.
So let's get back on.
No, those are all great points. But kind of, I guess for me, the other side of it is being able to support yourself. So for me personally, my business went just decimated it. So I'm a content creator full time, and I was
a good one too. I'm gonna throw it in. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Yes. But so I couldn't go out and shoot content. I was forbidden from doing it because of the social distancing. So then I couldn't make money. So then I was forced to go on unemployment. And I remember I had to wait around to get the unemployment check.
Right.
Meanwhile, my rent was stacking up.
It didn't wait around for you.
Exactly. I still have bills coming in, and my kids still need food. And, I still have to live my life to some degree. And so that's what it was like for months, really years of just not knowing what was going to happen. But I hope that us as Americans and as free thinkers and as patriots, that we learned very well the lesson from COVID, that we do not let fear and politicization from any administration in the government use the excuse of, well, you need to do what we tell you in the name of public safety.
Right.
You need to give us your personal freedoms and liberties so we can save you. And it's like, that,
man, you're going to save me. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we don't need the government to save us. Like, that's why we have the our Second Amendment rights.
Look at Newsom, Gavin Newsom. He's the governor of California, and he was told everyone you have to mask up, right? Remember, wear your cloth mask or your, what was it called, gaiter or something, some thin piece of cloth that you put around your house to defend against a microscopic virus, either here nor there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, dude, he's going to French Laundry, which apparently, I don't know, I've never been there, but apparently it's like up in Napa or somewhere in the nice part of California, and it's expensive. Like, that's where all the ballers and the elite, the wealthy people go, and no mask, no nothing. So it's rules for thee, not for me.
That's right.
Freaking communism, man. But anyways.
So, yeah, I hope that we've all learned our lesson from COVID, that sometimes we have to stand up for ourselves. We have to say no. We have to tell the government that you can't just tell us what we can and can't do, where we can and can't go, how we can and can't worship, what we can put in and on our bodies. That's not the government's right to do that. And we can't give in, or else we're going to start to slip away and become like other countries in the UK and Europe who are experiencing true government oppression, and they're having their civil liberties and free speech taken away, where they can't even talk about issues that are concerning them for fear of being harassed or even jailed by the government, which is a perfect segue into our next segment. So, Matt, do you want to...
Well, I was going to say...
yeah, but before we do that, Matt, finish this off with some thoughts.
Yeah, so during the lockdowns, it showed me how... You remember the people that, like, they would say, you're not wearing your mask, you're going to kill people. Like, how...
Usually have blue or purple hair and scream at you, right?
How human nature, how human nature, some people, which I call them communists, but how they can be easily persuaded and through fear and, like, they just listen to the lies, you know what I mean? So...
Yeah, it's almost kind of like this faux or fake love.
It is. So a third of the population, right, was maybe 30-40% was that way during those times. And so you were saying faux?
Yeah, just kind of this, like, I want to save your life and everyone's life, so you're going to do what I say. Yeah, virtue signaling, that's the word.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like this holier-than-thou approach.
John, I'm going to save you, okay?
Yeah.
I got you.
Exactly.
Just do this.
If you just
Shoot you in the arm.
right, if you just do what I tell you at gunpoint, you know, because that's real love,
yeah.
right? You know?
Yep.
But it's evil because we're taking away people's free will, their conscience, and every time you impose your will upon another human being without their consent is evil.
Of course.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
and I think that what's really gets to the heart of this issue is control, is trying to power.
Power, 100%.
Exactly.
I can tell you what to do.
Exactly.
And human nature, there's evil in, I want to say, you know, there's evil that, the best way I could put it, everyone's been bullied or something or had somebody when you're young or whatever. Imagine if you had the power to make them disappear, right? Would you do it? I would think I wouldn't. I would assume you're the same way. But what if you had that power? So that's communism. It's like North Korea, China, Russia, Venezuela. Could you just get disappeared, bro? Yes, because one human being says, you're done, you're out, you have no value. There's no value to your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's a good point, is that people, they get so disillusioned, or what's the word I'm looking for? It's like when you become so numb to human suffering and basically you, like you were just saying, that you don't
like mosquitoes, bro. You just swat them away.
Right, exactly.
That's somebody's mom, dad, brother, sister, best friend.
Yeah, you lack empathy or even sympathy. Like you just don't see the human value of their life, and it's really sad and it's disturbing. So, so with that,
so on that transition, you had a good transition earlier.
Yeah. Let's so kind of along that thread of free speech and power and the government versus the people and that balance of power. We just want to segue into the free speech crackdown in the UK, arresting people for online posts. So Matt's going to break it down. He's going to talk about the content and the context. So if you wouldn't mind.
I am. Yeah, absolutely. Our cousins in the United Kingdom, they are, multiple reports detail that the UK government, courts, and police are actually ramping up arrests and prosecutions that are related to online posts judged offensive or hateful. Conservative lean commentary highlights left-wing government policies, so your communists, they're in there. New digital monitoring units and expanding definitions of hate speech. Hate speech is always, hate speech is who determines if it's hate speech. Look, if you hate somebody because you're racist and you hate their color, you should be able to speak your mind, and then I in turn go, I don't want nothing to do with you because you're a POS, piece of rhymes with hit. And I'm not going to do business with you. I don't want you around my family and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the minute that you start declaring some is hate speech, and then there's some that's not, that's when you start to get into this stuff.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that was a big deal during COVID is people were limiting speech, specifically tech companies on social media platforms.
YouTube, yep.
They were saying, no, you can't say that because it's controversial or it doesn't align with what we want you to say. And it literally took a presidential election with Donald Trump winning his second term to say, no, we're not doing that. We're going to have free speech again. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be big.
Yeah.
And we're going to have free speech for everyone. And we actually got an apology from Mr. Zuckerberg
for Facebook, Meta.
Because he actually he revealed that the government, specifically the Biden administration, was putting pressure on his company as well as others to limit speech and to curate the content. And so to
your your federal government is pushing social media companies, which, okay, that's the new town square, right? So 300 years ago when we became 250 years ago when we became a country, right? The town square. That's where everyone pamphlets and pamphleteers and you were able to talk and discuss all that. So social media is now the new town square in the current age. The federal government, our institutions, which are supposed to be protecting us, actually told them, like Russiagate, and then also Biden's laptop, Hunter.
Yeah.
He's a great human being. Good job, Hunter. I just want to say you are a fantastic human being.
Role model. Please come with my kids.
Yes. My son, when he grows up, I want him to be like Hunter. So anyways, besides the point, actually the federal government told them to silence it. The laptop thing that came out, he's doing blow off his back. I haven't seen the video, so maybe you can rip the video for me for our next talk. But he's doing that. I mean, yeah. We're not even start, man. We're not even start. He dropped a firearm. He put a firearm, threw it away in a dumpster right next to a school because he was his ex-girlfriend or something. I'll have to look more into that story.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's true.
So I'm not making it up.
Oh yeah, I should get the report, but it's the something report. I'll have to look that up. But they had a link to all of that information was declassified, so you could actually go online. And unfortunately, I saw way more of Hunter Biden than I ever was at that band. Oh, you saw everything, like everything. And then, it kind of made me a little like, okay, I'm doing pretty good. At least it's not like kind of doughy, coked out,
fluffy,
a little fluffy. But man, and then I don't know if I should praise or whatever Marjorie Taylor Greene when she started bringing those photos blown up on a poster board.
That's awesome.
It started calling him out, and I was just like,
good.
You're a hero, Marjorie. If you're listening to this podcast, that was pretty gutsy. But I like the intention behind that, where you weren't afraid to.
We need more of that. That's what communists do. That's what Republicans need to do. Is you need to use whatever power, and you need to use that. Bring that crap up and go, yeah, look at this freaking dude right here.
Yeah, look what he's doing. Shine the light on the darkness,
We had, who was it? I think it was in New York, but wasn't the lawyer that put Trump, charged him with all that stuff. I was Georgia or Letitia James or the fat communist, whatever. Now she's on trial because apparently, I think it was New York, so it might not be.
Oh, is it Lisa Cook, right?
Yeah.
Lisa Cook, Federal Reserve, right?
Yeah, so she is saying that her house in like Maryland or something is a primary residence. Yeah. But so she can get better, lower rates. So exactly what the communist does, they project. So whatever Rush Limbaugh said it best, whatever Democrats accuse you of doing, they do they're doing themselves.
Absolutely.
Spot on. Good job, El Rushville.
Now, with that, I just want to take a moment and play a quick clip of what's happening on the other side of the pond with our brothers and sisters over in the UK. They are further down the socialist communist path of controlled or even zero free speech, and what they're actually living and experiencing every day of their lives. So I'm going to play that clip for you right now.
I realize there's no First Amendment in the UK, but, we're kind of them. We've got like a toe still that connects us very much to them. We're all supposed to be part of the modern West and have like shared values. And literally all Graham did was send out 3 tweets. I'm going to tell you what they are. You probably already know, but we'll bring this audience up to speed. That just got him arrested for offensive speech in the UK. 1, April 19th, showed a picture of a trans rights rally and captioned it, "A photo you can smell." 2, April 19th, in a reply to the picture and a follow-up, he writes, "I hate them.
That's not
misogynists and homophobes. F them." And number 3, on April 20th, he writes, "If a trans-identified male is in a female-only space, he is committing a violent, abusive act. Make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him in the balls." That's it.
wow.
And
I'd heard
this
this before.
in the UK can get you arrested with 5 armed guards, and God only knows what the potential punishment will be if Graham does not prevail in this case. Your thoughts on it all, Greg?
Well, I think I'm going to say something that might surprise you. Actually, it's good that they arrested him because it's making people aware of how insane the law has gotten in the UK and honestly the rest of the so-called free world at this point. America at this point is truly alone in protecting free speech as passionately as we do.
Dude, he was rocking the rolling, man. I could have listened to him
Yeah.
for 3 minutes. Yeah, he's spot on, man.
Yeah, and I love that. So America stands alone in holding the line in protecting free speech.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So we are the beacon. We're the light on the hill. We're the ones saying, no, government, you can't just do whatever you want. There is protocol to this. And we're allowed to criticize you and speak out against you without fear of imprisonment or having our life taken away. And unfortunately, these people in the UK, this is their life every day, too scared to say anything about the government for fear of getting their door beat down
Education, yeah.
by 5 SWAT members or whatever the equivalent of the SWAT is over in the UK.
Right.
And that's scary, especially, I know I have kids, you have kids.
Sure.
And if you knew that the government was going to come after you, that's really scary.
It is. Yeah. I do.
And there's people like Benny Johnson and even President Trump, who's had people, government type people, break down their door and search them. And it's got to feel violating or fear for your life or the life of your family. That's scary stuff.
I've thought about this over the last month or two, but are we really free? Are we really free? If they can do what they did to President Trump, 97 false convictions, raiding his home with the people that were raiding his home were given shoot to kill orders if something happened. So you can have blue on blue, which is where Secret Service is now fighting with the SWAT team and stuff like that. If they can do that to him, what can they do to somebody like you and me? Like, we're just talking into a microphone right now. What if we say something that doesn't like during the COVID? We talked about that already.
If we don't stand up for truth, for liberty, for free speech, for basic American rights, if we don't stand up for it, we're going to lose them. And our duty as Americans, like we talk about American exceptionalism a lot, but really what we're doing is we're holding up Western civilization, and we are being an example to other nations, saying you don't have to live like this. You don't have to go down the communist socialistic hellhole that is surrounding your country. And honestly, Trump winning the presidency, he is also winning the culture war. He sat down with world leaders over in Europe, and he talked about how can we get these countries back on track. It's okay to have a nationalistic America first, or in your case, UK first approach to how you govern. If you don't want immigrants, that's fine. You don't have to allow immigrants to come into your country. If you want to become nationalistic and just have pride in your own country and prioritize your own people who align with your ideals and culture, that's fine. That's okay. And I think
Culture. Yep.
exactly. And I think that's why it was so important for Trump to win, because he basically gave countries permission to celebrate their exceptionalism, their nationalism, and not have to bow down to diversity and DEI and immigration and, oh, let's all be one. And no, we can celebrate our differences too.
There is good cultures out there and there's crap cultures out there, right? Remember Trump said, oh, that's a shithole country. I don't remember which country he was talking about.
There's a lot of them out there.
But there is, right? So, yes, there's bad cultures, there's good cultures. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Any final thoughts on that before we move on to our next topic, man?
No.
Okay.
Let's see. Yes, my favorite one of the day, Betty.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, do you want to read this one? You seem excited. I think you should do this next topic.
I saw briefly the video, but U.S. strikes, destroys drug cartel boat. P. Hegseth, our Secretary of Defense, comments. U.S. military, under orders from President Trump, conducted a lethal strike on a Venezuelan narco-trafficker vessel, killing 11 suspected cartel affiliates. Defense Secretary Pete called it a new aggressive approach where traffickers will face the same fate. I freaking love that. That is great. Past administrations, both Republican and Democrat, would have, we're trying to catch them on land. We'll try. We'll do our best. But freaking, I hope he has the video.
Oh, yeah. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Should we roll it?
Straight missile. Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay.
Great.
Queuing it up. Let's do it.
Service. The president put that video of him eviscerating, blowing up that boat coming across with all of the drugs on board. And the president said on social, let them be on notice to anybody bringing drugs to the U.S. Beware. So the president is sending a message to other cartels, right?
Dude.
A very clear one. I can tell you that was definitely not artificial intelligence. I watched it live. We knew exactly who was in that boat. We knew exactly what they were doing, and we knew exactly who they represented. And that was Tren de Aragua, a narco-terrorist organization designated by the United States, trying to poison our country with illicit drugs.
Yeah.
Last year, under the Biden administration, all 4 years, 100,000 Americans died from drug-related, from drug use of drugs, many of which poured in from Central and South America through our southwest border. Now, we're sealing the border, but President Trump is willing to go on offense in ways that others have not been, and to send that clear signal to Tren de Aragua, Cartel del Sols, and others emanating from Venezuela. We're not going to allow this kind of activity. You're poisoning our people. We've got incredible assets, and they are gathering in the region. And so you want to try to traffic drugs, it's a new day. It's a different day. And so those 11 drug traffickers are no longer with us, sending a very clear signal that this is an activity the United States is not going to tolerate in our hemisphere.
Now, we can't just go blowing up random boats. So we need to have the intelligence needs to be there. And we have top intelligence in the world. One of them. But yeah, I'm all for it. I don't think that right there sends a message. They're just driving around like, hey, all right, we're just going to do our normal thing, right? We did for the last 10 years. I'm just going to drive the boat down the coast and deliver drugs to probably Mexico or somewhere. Nope. Probably a Reaper drone, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just sent the missile and just boom. Sorry. Yeah. You're a piece of garbage. I'm not going to shed it one tear.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
I don't got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the left. Here
we go.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna read this real quick. It says, conservatives generally praise decisive military action against drug cartels, seeing it as protecting U.S. borders and communities from trafficking and violence. Pete Hegseth and Trump allies frame this as needed offense where previous leaders were, quote unquote, weak.
Right.
Liberals and human rights advocates raise alarm about escalation, lack of due process, and legality of international strikes. Okay. So, what do you think about
that? Actually, I did hear, I'll have to do some more research, but I did hear that we were actually moved boats and the Navy off of the coast of Venezuela. So to show, I don't know, the cartels or what the deal is, but I think it's Nicolai Maduro, I think. That you just stop that drug traffics to America.
Yeah.
Which is good. Awesome for him.
Yeah. So just go off what you said. So
Yeah.
there's ongoing debate if Maduro's Venezuela is running a narco state.
Right.
So it's just a drug operation disguised as a government.
Yeah, Venezuela is sad too because, or it's sad for the Venezuelan people. Like they literally have like top 5, or if not the most oil deposits on the entire planet. And when he took over or whatever, they just live in abject poverty and misery and stuff like that. But man, it just goes to show you like how you govern people, how your local city, your state, your country, how important the control of the government and how it'd be really good or really bad.
And I think it's important to point out that any human being in any country of any era who stood up against tyranny, against evil, against people who would try to control you and take away those liberties. I mean, any time that they stood up against them, those are patriots. Those are heroes in my mind. And I hope that the halls of Valhalla will welcome them as heroes and as warriors. And
Sure.
And I hope that we have that same courage and sentiment as Americans, that when there is true evil enacted upon us, our communities, our fellow Americans, that we are the first to rise to our call of duty and come and aid those who can't help themselves.
Sure.
And we've seen that in our history. We have a very proud history as Americans in the world wars and other conflicts, where I would say the majority of them were justified in our involvement. Now, I will say that the men and women who laid down their lives get 100% of our admiration and respect. Obviously, the political leaders, they can debate the moral gray areas of who started it or was it justified. Like, I don't want to get into that, but it's more of just people who honorably serve their country to liberate other people or themselves is truly admirable.
100%, man. They are the true heroes. It's not the sports people. It's not Tay or Kelsey or to lay one's life down for their country is they're the true heroes.
Exactly. So getting back to this particular controversy, is there a controversy? Were we justified?
Leotards, yes, it is. Right.
Yeah, right. It's all
the communists.
Yeah. So were we justified in blowing it up, or did they deserve a fair trial, or did we violate any human rights, or were we completely justified?
Yeah, they said that they had intelligence. Now, if they're lying, then that's a big issue. But if they had the intelligence, they know it was gun-running drugs, then sorry, you're not bringing it to America. As long as you have the intelligence, right? I just don't want people blowing up. I don't want my government just randomly blowing up, and then the lies go, well, oh yeah, it was justified,
Yeah. I would agree with you on that. I don't think our government is just going around blowing up random people. They would have to have rock salt.
But I'm saying, no, there is a line there that cannot be crossed.
Right.
Because, libtards are saying, give them due process. They're freaking running drugs on a high-speed boat, dude.
Yeah.
What come to America to kill, I don't know, that's probably fentanyl in there.
Yeah.
Fentanyl. Do you remember Biden after the Abbey Gate? Or maybe it wasn't Abbey Gate, but after one of the terrorist attacks in Middle East, he predator droned a family of 11. They were in a van or something, and then they said, "Oh well, it was a justified killing." It wasn't. They thought they were getting somebody else, but they just eliminated one family. So that's where kind of what I'm explaining is.
Yeah, no,
we better be right.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want, like you and I both agree, we don't want just innocent people from a predator drone 30,000 feet in the air. Right? It's, it's people passing or getting murdered or whatever it is. It's no longer like in the Middle Ages, I stab you with my sword, I cut your head off, right? I'm looking you in the eyes. Now it's something you can't even see. Yeah. And just like that boat, just drops straight on you.
Yeah.
There is a fine line.
And you have to really consider, well, why would they release this very classified footage of the drone strike or however they blew them up? Why would they release that to public? Because like Trump's campaign promise that he was going to deliver peace through strength. And this is how he's showing that is he had a clear group of people who are enacting violence and evil and misdeeds upon the United States, and he absolutely obliterated them in just a glorious fashion. And so that video being disseminated sends a very clear message to our enemies that we aren't playing around, that this border is closed by land, by air, by sea. It doesn't matter how you try to come into this country. If you come in here to do harm, we're going to take you out.
I love it. Yeah. So, evil disappears.
Yep. And that's what you're telling me the other day, that an armed society is a peaceful society?
Polite society, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the saying is an armed society is a polite society. Meaning if I know you're armed and I'm armed, you and I might not have such aggressive words towards each other because human nature, self-preservation, that type kicks in, right? If I know you're armed and you know I'm armed, we're going to be a little nicer to each other.
Exactly. Well, if you know that there's
stuff.
Yeah. Or if you know that there's armed guards at the borders, or that you're going to be arrested, right, or you're going to be taken out, you're probably not going to go to the border and try and cross illegally into our country.
No, speaking of that, 0 border crossings. I think it was the month of May, June, July, recently. Shoot, we're in September already. Holy smokes. But I think it was May or June. 0 border crossings. Unbelievable. During the Biden administration, 6,000 to 10,000 per day. Times that by 4 years. They say the government, the feds, during the Biden administration, it was 10 or 12 million. Any number they give you is always going to be the conservative, the lowest possible one. I've heard as far as 20 million, and that doesn't include the other 20 million previous ones.
Right.
And then another report that I heard, I think it was last week, that there's 55 million visa, A1 visa, or just people that are here on a visa. 55 million. We have 320, 30 million people.
It's a lot of people.
Jesus.
Yeah.
They're not even citizens now. They may become citizens, but a Visa card holder, right?
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
It is.
So take the 55, then take the illegal ones. So what are we, 75, 80 million? Dude,
Yeah.
that is wild.
It is wild.
That's approaching, 27, is that 20%, 25%? All right. Let's see, 80 would be 360. Yeah, 20%, dude.
Yeah. And that's why
On citizens.
Right. And that's why Trump has taken such a tough stance. And in his inaugural address, that was his, his first State of the Union, where he actually had victims of families come and he named them.
Angel moms, I believe, or angel family.
Yeah.
I believe that's what it's called.
And he called attention to all the families that had lost children or loved ones due to illegal aliens that had come into our country and raped, murdered, killed, either intentionally or unintentionally. And the fact that they shouldn't have been here in the first place sent a clear message. And we're still even dealing with that issue.
Right.
With the most recent case of the CDL, or the driver who drove a truck, essentially illegally obtained a CDL truck driver's license and then made an illegal U-turn and killed a family.
Where did he get that license from? Do you remember?
The sanctuary state of California.
Isn't that crazy? He could only identify, they gave him a test, only identify one freaking street sign. It doesn't even read English. And that's why when you watch that video, maybe next week, or next show, we can pull that up. But he actually just in the middle of a 2-lane freeway, and you see the car slam into it, and it blurred out the video that I saw, but apparently he just looked nonchalant. Like,
Yeah.
And I guess his brother was in the passenger seat. Both their faces were blurred, but yeah, he just, bam,
Oh, yeah.
3 dead. And if that was your family and they shouldn't even be here, just like the rapes and the murders and stuff. I mean, people are going to murder people, but somebody who was let in on purpose and shouldn't even be here. You know what I mean?
It stings.
I don't have my family and, best friend, my wife, my spouse, my kids,
It stings because it's a preventable death. We had control over it
Right.
if we had just followed the law. If we had just followed what was written on the books and said, okay, you have to be a legal citizen. You actually have to be a competent driver. You actually have to pass the test. You have to have so many training hours. It's all those things that were just ignored. And then there's a reason why we have qualifications, why we have licenses, why we have permits, why we have laws on the books, because usually there was some idiot down the road that did something stupid that hurt or even killed another human being. That's why we have to have a law in the first place.
Right.
And so by ignoring those laws, you are ignoring safety. And I'd have to look it up, but I believe the company that apparently gave him that supposed license is under fire right now. Maybe shut down. Maybe that truck.
Really?
I don't know. I'll have to look into that. That more to come on that story. But it's clear that Trump's initiative and agenda, it's not that we hate immigrants. We love immigrants. My family comes from immigrants. We immigrated in the 1830s. I can trace it all the way back. I have Scottish heritage. We followed the American dream, but we assimilated. We became part of the culture, and we integrated, and we learned the language, and we respected the rule of law. And now we have few generations of naturalized American citizens in my line. And I love this country. It's my home, and I want it to be home to other people who want to love it just as much as I do. Sure. So just come here legally, follow all the laws, pay any fees, fill out any paperwork, and come and partake of this great country. In fact, most people who get their American citizenship, some of them I've seen cry tears of joy because they get to follow that dream.
About the naturalization. Yeah.
Yeah, where they
I want to go to one of those because I've known people that have become naturalized citizens, and they said it's so just awesome and good feeling.
Yeah.
And I've had some people where their wives, or Michael Berry talks about, I think it was his wife. I can't remember, but joy, just tears of joy, and you just get this feeling of just awesome and goodness, and people, they just freaking appreciate it. And then if you're watching in the stands, you feel the same thing, and you just see like proud, that good, wholesome freaking feeling.
Oh, yeah.
I'm an American citizen now. I had to work 5-10 years to do it the right way.
Exactly. And we're cheapening that.
Feel so good. So I do want to attend. Hopefully I can attend one. And actually, if I can, then we're going to record it and we're going to put it up.
I think it'd be awesome.
Spit on the
That is a great idea.
Podcast, baby.
I think that's a great idea.
Yes.
And let's show people who, because we hear a lot of stories about the illegals who don't care, and they'll come over and take advantage.
Pick your lettuce.
Exactly.
And do your bed.
Let's show the stories of the people who actually do care and they want to be here and are grateful to be here.
Right.
And a lot of them are great members of the community. A lot of them get into civil positions and serve on city councils and things like that, and they contribute and they start businesses and they pay taxes and they do great things in our country. So we want to hear those stories more.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other last minute thoughts on the drone strike? Are we ready to move on to the next one?
Okay, I'll just close it out with this. Drone strike. Awesome. Drug dealers. Boom. Goodbye. Patriots. Yes.
Great wrap up. I love it. Okay. I think we got time for one more. I'll go ahead and read this one. So let's finish off with kind of this idea of rules for thee, but not for me.
Sure.
Yeah. So
it's communism. That's the libtards.
That sentiment, that idea has definitely rung true in this whole Epstein list debacle. I think there's probably another side of this that we're not seeing, and I'm going to read some content so you guys can get kind of the latest on it. But I want to show you a clip in just a sec of some really interesting insight to maybe why we haven't gotten that list yet. But for some context, the Trump administration efforts to unseal grand jury evidence and reveal the full Epstein list have repeatedly failed in federal courts. Judges claim the request is a diversion, as comprehensive government files already exist. Some court documents name high-profile figures, but most remain sealed. So Trump supporters and conservative media demand transparency and suspecting a cover-up protecting political elites, media figures, and even Democrat-linked personalities. Liberals argue legal standards protect victim privacy and avoid prejudicing ongoing investigations. So, to break that all down, you have on the conservative side, hey, you promised a list. That was a campaign promise, and these victims deserve justice. Where is the list? And then you have on the liberal side of it, of Trump, maybe he's on the list. Maybe he's got something to hide. Maybe he's protecting the elites. Okay, so we're actually getting kind of some negative feedback on both sides of the aisle. So I'd love to play a clip that I think kind of sheds some light on that and maybe a different perspective. So let's look at that. Drop it.
What do we do about this Epstein stuff? Release the files.
Yes.
Release them.
Yes.
Just like you said you were going to. Be transparent. That's what everybody wants. We just want to know where the money's going.
Transparency. You nailed it. Just turn that light on. And the rats and cockroaches are going to scurry. John 3 talks about this. Christ came into the world to be the light, but men loved the darkness rather than the light for fear that his deeds will be exposed.
But they won't do it because they know it's wrong.
They will, though, if the money moves. The smartest minds in the world see everything as rivers. So rivers of capital, rivers of humans, rivers of resource. You're tackling $1 trillion river. You're at the river right now. Smart people don't dam the river off. Smart people divert rivers. So where do you want to divert the river?
Okay, and then before we comment on it, we got one more clip. Okay, here we go.
I'm here with Congressman Robert Garcia, the leading Democrat on the House Oversight Committee. We just left the press conference with Epstein survivors. Congressman, what do people need to know right now in this moment?
Look, right now, Donald Trump and Pam Bondi have the power to release all the files, and they're choosing not to do so.
That's a flat-out lie. Donald Trump and Pam Bondi do not have the power to release all the files, and he very likely knows that. But again, this is not actually about caring about the victims. If they were so worried about protecting victims from sex trafficking, they would actually care about having a secure border. They're not really worried about these victims, and they're not really worried about the Epstein situation. They're just attempting to use it for narrative control to harm Republicans and harm Donald Trump. That's what this is about. Here's why I say that. They won't tell you this, but within a 30-day period, from like July 20th to August 20th, the DOJ tried to unseal grand jury files 3 times with 3 different judges, and all 3 judges did not let them unseal the files. 2 of these judges were appointees from Obama, and 1 was from Clinton. None of them were Republican appointees. So I'm going to say this again. The DOJ, in a 30-day period, has tried to unseal grand jury materials 3 times, and all 3 times were denied by federal judges. So Donald Trump and Pam Bondi do not have access to release all the files. This is just a flat-out lie. And they're using it because it's some of the only leverage they have against Donald Trump right now. So they're going all in on it. So the master list you want, all the names, you're not getting that. It's locked by Rule 6E. The proof, identities, all these things that people want, like all the juicy stuff you want, it is locked by federal law. We're not going to get it. So make no mistake, this is not about Trump and Pam Bondi have all the files and they're just choosing not to release them. That is not what's happening. Here's what I think is happening. The vast majority of the information that people actually want is locked by federal law, and most people do not know this. So many Republicans on the right are frustrated with Trump and Pam Bondi because they think they're just not releasing the files, when in reality, they tried to unseal them 3 times in the past 30 days, basically, and the judges will not let them. And this Epstein situation is the most leverage that Democrats have had ever since Trump has got elected. So they want to keep this going. Again, think about it. They had control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency when Joe Biden came into office. Where was this energy then? It was not there because they didn't see any political upside in doing it. But now that they think it can harm Trump, now they care about the victims, and now they care about Epstein. They don't. And many Republicans on the right are helping Democrats keep this at the forefront. Again, when in reality, the vast majority of the juicy information that people want, we are not going to see. Or I should say it's highly, highly, highly unlikely.
Okay.
Yes, good dude.
Yeah. So thank you to Jeffrey there. He did a good clip on that. And
It's solid, man.
Yeah, he did some great work on that clip. So shout out to him. But I like his approach that Pam Bondi and President Trump, there's still checks and balances within our government. We're a 3-branch system. Donald Trump doesn't have all power. He's limited within the executive branch, and he can't just sign an executive order and get whatever he wants. And in this case, the grand jury has that evidence in those documents sealed. And what Jeffrey was pointing out in his clip was that they have actually tried to unseal those documents 3 times.
So you know that, yeah.
To fulfill that campaign promise.
Right.
And they're not getting anywhere because we have a Biden and Obama picked grand jury or judges that are keeping that sealed.
Yeah.
And so as much as we want to, as conservatives, everybody wants the list. I mean, this should be a nonpartisan issue. We want justice for the victims, and we want to hold Jeffrey Epstein and his accomplices accountable.
Yeah.
And we all want that, but there's still, again, this is getting politicized, where if they can drag out this controversy as much as they can to try and tear down Trump and make him seem like he's not fulfilling his campaign promises, or says one thing and does another, or Pam Bondi stating that she had the list on her desk and she's ready to release it. And then when the binder came out, it was all redacted and information we had already seen, and we just go, And so it
wasn't just one binder, it was multiple binders, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
And that big reveal they screwed it up. Whoever was running that.
Yeah, so
item.
Has there been some missteps? Yes. Has Trump failed to deliver on his campaign promise? No, because we have to give the man some time. I mean, he's been in office for 9 months now. Okay, so he's done a lot. I mean, he's had to get countries at war under control. He's had to get the border under control, get the economy under control, and tariffs. I mean, he has a lot on his plate. And if he's going to get pushback from activist judges who have a political agenda, there's only so much he can do. So we just have to trust the president, trust Pam Bondi, do our best to support them at the highest levels, and trust that justice will happen as soon as it can.
Yeah. Trying to unwrap. Yeah. So, yes, the Pam Bondi and the binders, and they brought the influencers in,
Oh, yeah.
And then they open it up, and it's just a bunch of crap that everybody already knows. Bad. So I'm not anybody humper. If you screw up, then you're gonna get called out on it. So when I screw up, I get called out on it. The Epstein list, as far as all the libtards and the communists, they have nothing else to go off of right now. And I think, like you said, or like Jeffrey said, where were they during the Biden administration? Yeah. All right. And there's nothing, not at all. They weren't asking to get justice for the people. Silence.
Yeah. And I think that's the key issue right there, is why now? Why had, a lot of the Biden supporters remained silent until this time? I mean, all the information was there during the Biden years. Why did they wait till now?
Still been sitting there, bro. It's been sitting there for 20 years.
Exactly. So we'll see. I did read, I think it was it the prosecution? I believe it was 2011. There was an attorney that basically was going to subpoena a bunch of high-profile people. And when it came to Trump, he said that Trump is like, you don't need to subpoena me. Let's set up a phone call. I'll tell you whatever you want. And he was very, very informative, and he just laid it all out, gave him all the information. Didn't need to subpoena him, and he actually ended up giving key information that helped in the investigation back in 2011. And so, in my mind, I don't think Trump has anything that is
it would have already come out. Trust me, during the 4 years of the Biden administration, when the communists took over back in 2020, anything that would have had to do, I mean, dude, they tried to arrest him. They swatted his house. If there was anything on the file, it would have been leaked. It would have been released. Trust me.
Exactly. If they had that big of a bombshell, it would have happened. So
released 5-6 years ago, 8 years ago.
Oh yeah, Trump would have never been president his second term, or even his first term if they got to him soon enough. So I'm not worried about President Trump, quote unquote, being on the list as far as being guilty of anything nefarious. I think they are trying to politicize this to make him seem untrustworthy. They're just doing it as a way to damage his reputation, but they're not going to win because we're just going to have to, like I said, trust Donald Trump. If the story needs to go away for a while so that way they can get through the legality of it and get through the grand jury however they need to, whatever Pam Bondi needs to do to get that information released and unsealed, let's give her the time to do it, and then let's move on to some other issues that are pressing, and we'll eventually get to the bottom of this dirtbag.
Sure. They just have that. They have nothing else. If you look at Democratic polls, dude, they're cratering. Like it is going straight. Yeah, there we go.
Just like the boats.
Yeah. Shoot that mother blanker. Yeah, they have nothing else. So communists always will try to grasp on. They have to grasp on something. They're never happy or satisfied.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's pretty much all I got on the Epstein list. We'll just have to wait for more information. Any final thoughts on that before we move on to our closing sections?
I don't know. It'd be nice to, like, I know there has to be something there, but I don't know if, like Jeffrey said, we're ever going to see it.
Yeah.
As much as I want to, I mean, it sounds like there's some high profile people.
Yeah.
Like, what's his name? King Henry or Henry. He's like the prince or
I'm gonna say Prince Andrew.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
There is some high.
It goes
there is some high people.
Oh yeah. So
you got BJ Clinton. I mean, there is.
Yeah, I've got
Bill Gates. There's a lot, man. So I love it.
I've watched videos where they have flight logs and they just start naming names. I'll see if I can find that video and send it to you.
Is it actual real? It's not AI.
That's what I gotta find out.
They're naming names. That's big, bro.
They were naming names. Most of them were Hollywood.
Yeah.
Music industry.
It's crazy.
Some of the names you mentioned, some political leaders. Yeah, it was. If those names are all authentic, then a lot of people's worlds are going to come crashing down. There's going to be a lot of high-profile people that are gone.
Yeah.
And for the better, because obviously if you abuse young girls or children, you should be held accountable.
Raping little girls, dude, you're done.
Yeah, you're done. So
I'm going to take you up 30,000 feet and go ahead and push you off.
That's right.
Throw you out the back door. Go skydiving with no parachute.
Yeah, there has to be accountability. So we're going to shine the light on the darkness, and we're going to find out who these perpetrators are, and we're going to take them down.
Dude, I'm all for it.
All right. So, Matt, this was a great discussion today. We talked about RFK testifying before the Senate, calling out the politicization, if I can say that word, of COVID. We talked about the U.S. drone strikes,
which was awesome,
against the drug cartels. We talked about the free speech crackdown in the UK. People, citizens getting harassed for posting things online. We talked a little bit about the Epstein list and border security and a whole host of other topics. I think we covered it. We did a good job today.
We did. And just real fast, we didn't get to it, but transgenderism, schools, and the Minnesota shooting. So we are going to save that for tomorrow. Yeah. Other than that, time to go be with our families, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So we want to take a moment and thank everyone who listened and tuned in to our show. For those of you who are new to our show, we are a grassroots conservative podcast platform. We are trying to grow this and get like-minded patriots and people who love freedom and liberty and truth and get them to support our show. The best way you can do that is just to share it, to like it, to comment on it, and just let your friends know about it. So we're going to be on pretty much all major platforms, and we hope that you subscribe and follow us on all those different platforms. Again, we thank you for tuning into the Matt and John Show. Together, we're keeping the flame of liberty alive and shining a light on the truth. Stay strong, stay free, and until next time, God bless America.
God bless America.
Thanks for listening to the Matt and John Show. Be sure to follow us on social media. And until next time, God bless you and God bless America.